Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second meeting on the Environmental Chemistry course, or TEL 1205, with me, Adri Huda. On this second meeting, we will focus on water contamination pathways. This course will cover how the contamination or the pollution interact or react or contaminate the water source. The water here that we are talking about is the surface water and also the groundwater system. And the pathways will be divided into several pathways that we will talk later on in the next slide. As a reminder that this course is uh, enrolled in the Department of Environmental Engineering in the second year or the fourth semester. All right, so let's jump to the main agenda. Today we will talk about the water contamination mechanisms or pathways. Basically, that we will talk how the water system get contaminated or degrade in terms of quality of the water. As we mentioned before, that wet water can get polluted by a lot of things, mostly about archipelagos activities, for example, the agriculture or industrial things that make the water get the purity of water get destroyed. Again, this phenomena is getting worse since water itself has the properties of high excellent solvent, meaning that the water can get easily react with a lot of varieties of compounds or molecules. For example, like agriculture, everybody use the fertilizer, herbicide, or we in the urban area, for example, a lot of people dump their waste that contains protein, carbohydrates, that can get react or dissolve easily with water. And after the consequences of the interaction make the water quality get destroyed. The water itself contains a set of pollution that make the water system is not pure as it should. So talking about the water contamination pathways, we'll try to conclude five pathways that commonly used for the pollution get contaminated. The first is point source pathways. The second one is non-point source pathways. The third is subsurface and groundwater pathways. The fourth is biological pathways, and the fifth, the hydrological and surface pathways. Let's jump for the first one is a point source pathways. Point source pathways basically like the mechanism, the pathways. Water get contaminated. It's based on direct contamination from the pollution source. For example, here on the right side, that we can see the industrial things, the industrial activities. They just discharge the wastewater directly to the water source. For example, lakes, river, or even the ocean. So in the point source pathways, the contamination mechanism or the contamination process, it can be see very clear where we can see the pathways of the pollution. For example, if you dump the wastewater directly to the river, and then someone see those activities, they could say that this is the very example of the point source pathways where people just directly dump their wastewater and then try to contaminate the water source. The other thing that makes the example of the point source pathways is that the leakage. For example, the oil and gas pipelines, sometimes they cross the water source, for example, the river, ocean, and during those transportation or during those installation of the pipeline, sometimes the pipeline has the leakage, meaning that for example, the oil can get the leakage from the pipeline and then contaminate the water source. The second one is direct dumping. Like I told you before, that people can just simply dump or like discharge the wastewater system to the water body. The potential pollution source for the points or pathways, it could be various, but we could see that the household as the main compound, main parameters or example that the point source pathways normally occur, especially in Indonesia, where a lot of people, they don't have any wastewater treatment system, meaning that their wastewater just dump directly to the water source. Industrial wastewater discharge, for example, the textile industry. I know some textile industry, especially for the small or middle size of textile industry, they don't have a proper wastewater treatment system where all of the like textile wastewater, they just dump directly to the water source, for example the river. As we can see, the river get like colored, like a very bright color, where we know the water should has the like clear water quality or water system. And then when they dump the textile was water to the river, we could see very clearly that the water get colored, for example, the red or blue, green, and etc. So industrial wastewater discharge is also a massive things. This is the dilemma where, in some point, we understand that this a small and middle size of activities, industrial things, for example, the textile things, they don't have a good investment to build up the wastewater system. But on the other hand, we have to aware that the water source get limited, and then those activities by dumping or discharge the wastewater treatment directly to the water source is not a very wisdom things to do. The third thing is the mining and extraction. As we know that some of the natural resources extraction activities or mining activities, that sometimes they just discharge all of the wastewater or acid mines water to the water source. As we know in Indonesia, and especially in the east part of Indonesia, there's a lot of uh, reports, for example, in Raja Ampat, where some archipelagos activities, like some people do the minings in Raja Ampat, where they try to destroy the quality of oceans by discharge all of the acid mines to the water. So that's also the other example for point source pathways, where you just dump all of the pollution directly to the water source. So the last one is landfill leachate. So this is also commonly occur in Indonesia, where, for example, we have the landfill. They have a mountains of waste, a solid waste, and then during the rainfall season, all of the rain will shower all of the waste, and then produce the leachate. The leachate can goes to the river system or the lakes. For example, here in Medan, as we can see, the landfill area of Sechanang, their leachate can goes to the river or in the lakes near the landfill, where, as we can see, the river itself has a lot of pollution, for example, the heavy metal. And as we can see that there is no industrial things or activities near the river, meaning that the heavy metals could be produced from the landfills area. So that's why, like, the point source pathway can directly propose the pollution source. So the point source pathway that we can see directly, or we can claim that the source of the pollution from those kind of activities. So that's why, like, the point source pathway is most commonly things if we could see the mechanism or the pathways of pollution in water system. The second mechanism of second pathway is non-point source pathways. This is the different with the point source pathway, where we can claim or we can see the pathways of the contamination process. On the non-point source pathway, the contamination source is unidentifiable, meaning that we could claim that this source of pollution coming from one activities or one area. So non-point source pathway basically is something that we couldn't know uh, on the simple things, simple investigation where this contamination or pollution coming from. For example, if we could see that the river right now in Indonesia, especially in Medan, they has they have a very high amount of organic compounds or TOC or total organic carbon on the water, and then the organic carbons or the organics on the water system be coming can be comes from a set of activities. It could be from agriculture activities, can be coming from the household wastewater, or it can be from industrial wastewater. So meaning that this kind of pollution cannot be identified in simple way, but if you do like a comprehensive investigation where this pollution, for example, the organic things coming, it could be identified. But mostly the non-point source pathways, they don't the source of contamination or pollution is unidentifiable. The pollution can be a diffusion, meaning that it can be spread vertically from the water system itself, or runoff, or it can be accumulation. As we see that here, there's a lot of hydrological pathways that, like there is a lot of river banks or a small river, and like the drainage system that could accumulate all of those pollution from this activity, and then it's end up in the water system, meaning that we don't know that yet. If we talk about the illustration could be, like the in one area that for example here in the image in the image here, this is the water system, and then we could see that the animal waste can directly go to the water system, and also the agriculture activities here can also dump their pollution to the water, or even industrial emission, they produce gases, and then the gases can uh, contaminate the water through the rainfall, and also land disturbance. For example, the asphalt here, they contain hydrocarbon, and then during the like mechanical things here, the car hits the road, and then the spill on the road can be some kinds of pollution to hydrocarbon, and then leach it to the river here. So the river now has a lot of pollution. They can has the animal waste. They can have the carbon things from the carbon dioxide for industrial emission. They can be fertilizer. And then when we try to analyze the carbon contents here, the water, it could be like unidentifiable. So we couldn't declare that this wastewater or the decline of water quality in this river are coming from one activity. It could be something that accumulate from a set of varieties of activities. The mechanism from non-point source pathway could be from runoff, meaning that, for example, the agriculture here, they use the fertilizer, and then they use the fertilizer in the morning, and then in the afternoon, the rain's coming, and then the rain just like wash all of the fertilizer, pesticide, herbicide on the surface of soils, and then all of those fertilizer, pesticide just goes to the river and then contaminate the river. It could be infiltration, meaning that the contamination coming from the soil, and the soil has the like soil water interaction that we mentioned before in the first meeting, and then it could be from rainfall, meaning that the industrial emission, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide on the uh, air atmosphere, and then the rainfall coming, and then they just transport all of those pollution, and etc. So that's the non-point source pathway, meaning that we couldn't identify the source of the pollution.